Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by thelines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by Nate Weitzer. He's on the East Coast. We've got NBA play-up props here on a big old Thursday slate. 13 games to choose from after a week of NBA Cup action kind of interrupted our big slate stuff here. So we're going to be getting into play-up props, like I said. Also got best bets up in a separate episode. So make sure to subscribe to that page and give that video a like. Continue to follow along all season with us. Also want to let you know we do have another week's worth of the solid BetMGM exclusive partnership here. If you do want to get a solid deal and don't yet have a BetMGM account, when you sign up, use code TheLinesYT50. That'll go ahead and get you up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your first bet loses. Also get $50 in bonus bets regardless of the outcome of that first play. So definitely a solid deal if you want to make sure that you are getting some free money here if you don't yet have a BetMGM account. Nate, let's go ahead and jump right into your first play a prop here for Thursday.
Yeah, Malik Monk, yo. I mean, Monday, I really wanted to look at Monk and De'Aaron Fox against a Nuggets team that can't guard the pick and roll, can't guard guards. And I mentioned it to you when you talked about that game, and then I didn't pull the trigger. But we get another shot here. So I'll go Monk, 23.5 points and assists. It's only up one of those since he got, 31 in that last game on Monday, and gets another fantastic matchup here against the Lakers. Lakers team's awful guarding the pick and roll ball handler, specifically in the last 7, giving up the most assists to shooting guards. And Monk is averaging 16 and 6.3 dimes against this team. His last 3, that's in just 28 minutes per game. And in his last 9, he's playing 34 minutes. Since he came back from a little 5-game absence, they've been like, all right, let's run a lot more stuff through you. Like the Sabonis assists are down, the potential assists are down. And it's Monk and Fox at pretty much a timeshare in terms of drives, in terms of, assist rate overall. Although the pass rate for Monk off the drives is 30% higher than De'Aaron Fox. So he's looking to dime up, getting 2.7 assists just on the dime, 7.7 in general in these last 9 on 12.5 potential. So he's gone over in 8 of the 9, averaging 28 points and assists per game. And we got Huerter and Keegan Murray questionable. So, I mean, either of those guys is out. You're definitely looking at 34 minutes. I mean, it could be either way because Keon Ellis is kind of almost out of the rotation at this point. I don't think they need to play him against the Lakers the way the Lakers are kind of mortgaging offense in the backcourt to get some more defense out there with Max Christie, whatever. And we know DeRozan ain't passing, so that's not a problem. But in one without Keegan Murray this season, Monk posted 25 and 10, and he's averaged 18 points per game without Keegan in 8 games since last season. There's a slight chance Domantas Sabonis sits, in which case it's like totally wheels up here. I mean, and then you're just holding a fantastic ticket on 23.5 because it should be Monk and Fox all day. I mean, for what it's worth, Monk missed the 2 games that Sabonis actually missed this year. And, I like the over in this game because that game against Atlanta, one of the 2 that Sabonis mixed, was a relatively low scoring game because they didn't have Monk out there. Like Fox was forced to just try to do both facilitate and score. And it's just such a different story for this Kings offense when they have a secondary playmaker like Monk. And I think it's going to be key here as well against the Lakers.
This is where I think the miss was with the Kings. The miss with the DeMar DeRozan acquisition was that he's not a Malik Monk type, and that's what you're looking for. Like you talk about facilitating offense, DeMar's not doing that. DeMar's just looking for his shot once again. I love when DeMar is in facilitate mode, DeMar, and I don't know that we're going to see it on this team when De'Aaron Fox demands the ball. You also have a top 2 passing center in the league who would be the best far and away if Nikola Jokic wasn't born. There's not that many touches to go around. But Malik Monk is the guy that comes in and provides something different than what De'Aaron Fox is already doing. Neither of De'Aaron and DeMar are that good above the break 3-point shooters. They're just not. They're not as good from out there. They're very, very good mid-range or athletes going to the rim. Malik Monk is a pure shooter. He's different. And I like targeting guys who do something different than the repetitiveness of other guys on their offense. similar to what I'm going to talk about with Goga, to be honest. So I'm going to go into Goga Batadze. You could take my Goga bets for me if you kill me. I'm never going to stop betting on Goga. And I think this is getting disrespectful, dude. I mean, I got this at 8.5 boards, Nate, from -115. And I'm not going to give it out at 8.5 at -115 because that's far gone. But we are at 9.5. And you can still get that for like better than -110. And I would take it for sure. I mean, the double, fine. I'm annoyed that it didn't hit against the Bucks. It was +250. It should have hit and it didn't. So I'm a little bit gun shy now, but the rebounds, man. I mean, this is what we targeted with Giannis. This is what we target with any big man against OKC. Even with iHeart back there, it's just not the same. So I like the boards for him against a team that's 29th in limiting rebounds to its opponents straight up, and in the bottom 10, limiting opponent centers as well with rebounds. If you look at him without Franz and Paolo, he's so important to this team on offense and defense. And that offensive importance dwindled a little bit when Mo Wagner decided that he was going to come out and be Hakeem Olajuwon on offense. 26 points against the Knicks last game. That kind of ate into Goga's minutes, obviously. He was at 25 minutes on the game in that one. 13 rebound chances, 11 boards, though, right? Against a very good Knicks rebounding team that is number one in limiting opponent rebounds overall on the season. So very good job, Goga. If you look at him in the games he's played without Franz and Paolo this season, first of all, he's over in all three. He's averaging 13.7 boards in that time frame at about 30 minutes per game in those three, and still is second in touches on offense. On offense, this man has touched the ball the second most amount, mostly because it's a lot of him standing at the top of the key and then with his back to the basket, doing the dribble handoff thing as guys run around him. I do like him to be able to score in this one, but I'm sticking to the boards for that reason. But he's at essentially 16.6 rebounds per 36 when he's playing without Paolo or without Franz. And that includes times where he has Wendell Carter Jr. on the floor with him, who's been his power forward essentially over these last three games. And then Mo is the backup center that comes in. And the only reason Mo took those minutes from him last game is because he was scorching hot, right? He had like 15 points in the first half for Mo Wagner. So it was just like, we need to keep the hand in there against the Knicks. Didn't end up working out totally, but obviously it worked well enough that they kept Mo out there for a bit longer. But the other two games, you still have him. The point is, even if you put Goga at 25 minutes, and I don't know how you could lower his floor of minutes beyond 25 when he is the best option you have at defense for center, without question, and rebounding in general. If you put him at 25 minutes with the amount of rebounds that he's been getting per minute, he's still at 11.5 boards per 25. I think he's much closer to 28 to 30 against the Thunder. You have to have rim protection against the Thunder. And so this is it. This is the rim protection, like Wendell Carter Jr. to a degree, but he's going to need to be versatile enough to guard like a J-Dub, right? Like a Jalen Williams, because you don't have Paolo or Franz out there to help you out. You're probably looking at KCP on SGA. And maybe Suggs on SG. Either way, you have a decent backcourt defense, but J-Dub's more of even a power forward at this point, to where you're going to need someone like Wendell Carter on him. That's going to keep Goga close to the basket. I love him to be able to get 10 boards in this one once again.
Yeah, Orlando basketball, man. It's gonna be choppy. It's gonna be ugly. There's gonna be boards available. I don't know how OKC responds to that putrid offensive performance 2 nights ago. Kind of a letdown spot. I mean, kind of a really tough travel spot with Orlando and Miami now back to back in this one, and Orlando sitting there well rested. Saw how Milwaukee just shut off their water and dared them to shoot threes, and I think they can kind of replicate that game plan and then get a lot of rebound chances for Goga. So yeah, like the bet for sure.
There's some legit worry about OKC in a 7-game series. At least it's now been put into our heads that they're pretty beatable if you take away everything that's not a 3 and they can't hit. They're in trouble. So
yeah, they might have to go get the modern day J.R. Smith somewhere off the scrap heap before the trade deadline. But yeah, let me take Keontae George here with the second pick. 22.5 PRA is juiced up a little bit. But it's only 2 boards on top of his points and assists, so I think you take it here. He is rebounding more. Took under rebounds and assists on him a while ago because he just wasn't even getting in there. But he actually has the highest rebound chance rate of everyone in the rotation in his last 10 here. So yeah, grabbing 4.2 per game, not a ton of chances, but he's getting in there and grabbing it. So that is why we've seen a rise in those stats. And then the points and assists have just been rock solid. 17-6 in his last 9 games here, gone over this. I mean, in 9 of his last 12, he's gone over this, and 2 of the unders are against the Clippers. So you love, and even going back to last season, 3 of his unders against the Clippers. So it's you love seeing when it's just like one specific type of matchup is a problem for a guy, and otherwise he's fine, like against the rest of the league. And Detroit is not a tough matchup right now. I mean, they might not have Jaden Ivey tonight. They are allowing the third most points and fourth most assists so far in December. Jazz even worse. So like, hello, over 227 in this game. Potentially want to look at a couple other props potentially as well. Ausar Thompson, with if Ivy is out, I believe he's doubtful. So I think we'll see a lot more run for him alongside Cade, who's killing it. But yeah, just looking at the Jazz, like they've put more onus on George because they want him to be the future, and Sexton, Clarkson, and Sexton are the past. So he has 10 more drives per game than these dudes in the last 9. He has 30 or 40 more passes than each of them per game, getting 11 potential assists, 6 actual dimes. And he's scoring 21 a game if you remove the tough matchups where he's gone under, like the Clippers and Mavs. So, I mean, nearly getting this just on points alone, facing a pretty weak perimeter defense. I think it's a pretty safe bet here as the Jazz go to Detroit.
Yeah. I see everything that you're saying with this one. I mean, it's just George. I'm not sure about him yet. Is the only thing. Like as an overall NBA player, obviously he's gonna still need some time. Maybe he's still in line with the way that this Jazz trajectory is sort of panning out. I agree, and this is a good spot to target. We're probably not gonna have Jaden Ivey in this game. As well in this game. So I think that's probably going to be helpful he's actually been really good as a perimeter defender this season. Malik Beasley's been fine too, but I'm happy to have like more Tim Hardaway Jr. on the perimeter out there to not be able to defend a guy like Keontae George. So I like this look for an athletic guard against Detroit there. I'm going to go with an SGP. I was really liking DeAndre Hunter at 17.5 points. That is nuked and completely gone. It's probably going to get to 19.5 to be honest, because it's already at like 18.5 minus 139 on some books here, including Pinnacle. So I'm going to do a little SGP for the final play because I do love both Trey and DeAndre. I'm targeting both those guys in this game against Los Spurs. Starting with DeAndre Hunter, there's been a bit of a turnaround since his Sixth Man of the Year candidacy started to come to light here. After like the first roughly like 6 to 7 games of the season, he was only at about 12 shots per game. There were some games without Jalen Johnson in there as well that he was the beneficiary of. So even those 12 field goal attempts in the first 6 for him are a little bit like overstated, to be honest. He actually was probably much more likely to be shooting about 10 shots in that time frame. But then you look at the last 10 games, and Jalen Johnson's only missed one of those, and he's at 14 field goal attempts. And I stopped really correlating these two and putting them together as like they impact each other because they do so much of the same stuff. Kind of, but actually not really. Jalen Johnson is clearly just there, get it and go, secondary playmaker, go to the rim, attack blindly, be an athlete, just go towards the rim, and Trey will throw it up there in the vicinity of it for you. I love watching Trey just fling the thing towards the rim, and one of 4 athletes come out of nowhere and catch it, Jalen being the top candidate. But that's not how you beat the Spurs against Wemby at the rim. You beat the Spurs with pull-up shooting because they do not help off of their guys. So they don't give up anything off the catch and shoot. They're like the 5th best in terms of limiting the amount of attempts that the other team takes off of catch and shoot stuff. Pull-up stuff is the opposite. They're the second, giving up the second highest frequency of shots off the pull-up because, once again, they do not double team the ball handler. So you're going to see guys who don't necessarily need the pass in the spot up to get their points. That's DeAndre Hunter, and that's Trae Young. So just take Trae Young for 20, take Hunter for 15 plus. You get that close to plus 150. I love that for both these guys in this game. And like I said, the pull-up shooting is key. The DeAndre Hunter increase in usage is key as well. And I don't think we're giving him enough credit for the fact that he's going to play 28 to 32 minutes, depending on if it's a close game, because Ricochet is not closing games. This is DeAndre Hunter coming into the starting lineup and taking over that position for Ricochet as the either, somewhat of the corner 3 shooter, but DeAndre Hunter is driving to the rim at a very nice rate right now as well, especially from below the break is really where he's coming in after he catches the ball. And then he's been incredible going to the rim. Really a big problem with his big, like 6'9" frame. So love that for him. For Trey, it's the same concept. This team is struggling to defend the pick and roll ball handler points for San Antonio. That's what Trey's going to be doing. If you don't get out on him, we really saw him catch fire against the Bucks there, and it was the same concept. Once again, targeted Trey in that one. Another defense bad at limiting pull-up stuff. The pull-up 3, especially, you can still get about even money for Trey to hit 3 of them. The volume hasn't quite been there for the 3s for Trey. He's also been getting to the line a good amount, sort of a free throw merchant at times. So I'm going to stick with just the points for him as opposed to the 3s. And like I said, the Hunter 15 plus points, as long as he gets the 29 minutes he's been playing, I have zero qualms with it because I know he's taking 14 shots.
Yeah, at first glance, I was like, oh, wrong dance partner. You can't take Trey 20 points. He hasn't been shooting, but he's been shooting lately. And, when he played Chris Paul, when Paul was still on the Suns, like he was absolutely gunning. There might be like one of those like mentor, son, like look up
Yeah.
to you. I'm gonna go at you type situations
It's
here.
like
And then,
It's like
yeah,
with Trey and Steph, yeah.
yeah, with Trey and CP3.
But I'm
Uh,
saying with both guys, like Trey does it with those guys, those
oh, yeah, yeah.
stars that he wants to be like. He goes up against those PGs and tries hard for sure. I know what you're saying.
For sure. And then, yeah, you make good points with the pull up shooting, not trying to get in there against Wemby, not throwing lobs. So he's going to be throwing floaters instead of lobs, most likely, once he gets inside the 3-point line. So
Agreed.
it makes sense here for some good plus money.
Yep, appreciate the support and the conviction from you there, Nate. We are going to be back with Friday slate as well, so definitely continue to follow along. That's all the time we have for Thursday. We'll be having player props and best bets once again on Friday for you guys, and we'll have those NFL player props for you for Week 16. So definitely jump in there. Got a couple Saturday games this weekend too, so lots of action on the channel. Looking forward to seeing you guys soon. Until we see you next, happy betting.